All right. And we will continue on with the prelim. Are you ready to call your next witness?
Your Honor, prior to calling the next witness, we just want to bring to the court's attention that it was brought to our attention that after the witnesses from this earlier today testified, they joined the room with the live stream. So we had asked for the witnesses to be sequestered. We didn't say we weren't going to potentially recall any of those witnesses, and if any new information came out and it was brought to our attention, they joined into courtroom B.
And that's correct. The witnesses were excused.
They were.
So I told them that they were finished testifying and they could.
And so what is defense's objection?
Our understanding was that the court had asked them to all the alleged victims, the witnesses, to be separated from each other, to be.
I did not order that. In fact, I specifically did not. I told you in chambers that was an impossibility, and on the record said that, and specifically indicated that I would be issuing my standard sequestration order, indicating that they should not, those that have testified should not be talking to anybody that has not yet testified.
That is correct.
So if I had ordered that they all be separate, there would have been no reason for me to say that second part.
That is correct. But my understanding is that they were in the room with other family members of other alleged victims that were going to testify later today. And that's one of our concerns, is that they're sharing a space. These people already, as came out today, have a lot of connection with each other.
So are you saying that somehow or another their testimony is going to be tainted? Because if you're making that call, you better be ready to back it up, or you better back down from it. One of the two right now, because otherwise I will hold an evidentiary hearing regarding each witness coming up here, and you better be able to substantiate it. So before something else comes out of your mouth, let me know which way you want it.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was making the court aware of the fact that information was brought to our attention. We were under the impression that the court's order was that these witnesses would not communicate with each other in the sense of the testimony. All we're making clear on the record is that these witnesses joined a room full of other family, other members, families, and that's all we're making.
And they were excused. So had we not had that room, had they just been out in the hallway, they would have been out there amongst them anyway. After they're excused, I cannot and do not control them except for the confines of my order, the sequestration order, which tells them not to talk to anybody that has not yet testified.
And all we want to make the court is aware that they were in a room with other family members of those who have not yet testified.
And that means absolutely nothing to the court without more counsel. So I'm done with it.
Thank you.
Well, Your Honor, I would like to speak to the record because counsel is representing that something improper was going on. When from the beginning, I advised the court and counsel that there are approximately 30 people, 8 of them victims to testify. They're all being held in the jury room. I, as an officer of the court, told them not to discuss their testimony with one another. So
okay, go ahead.
They were all in the room together to be kept away from the defendant's family in the hallway, intimidating them. So yes, they are in a room together. They're in a very large jury room together, and they have been since this morning. They have all been instructed not to discuss their testimony.
All right, so we can just put an end to this. Mr. Reiser, as an officer of the court, I'm going to take a brief recess. Can you go down there? I think a couple of the witnesses have walked back in. Can you ask them as to whether or not they had any conversations with anybody who is expected to testify that has not yet testified? And counsel, if you brought that to my attention and you've wasted this court's time, you better hope they say something. Court's in recess. All rise. We're back on the record in the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Radcliffe. Counsel and defendant are present. Mr. Reiser.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did speak with 2 of the 3 witnesses who have testified. The victims, Isaiah and Max, are still in the courthouse, but as you are aware, they have been excused. Noah is excused and has left the courthouse. Isaiah and Max assured me that they have not spoken to anyone. They've got support from the parents that were in there, but they have not spoken about their testimony, and they are excused. So I did tell them they are free to come back into the courtroom to watch the remaining.
Absolutely are. And just so that the record is also clear, because I went back and was reminded of what was said so that we don't have an obfuscation of what has occurred today and what this court has done. There are 3 separate rooms that parts of this proceeding are going on to based upon the court's initial order closing the courtroom and then a partial closure and then a place to put the witnesses and their support personnel. Those are three separate, distinct areas. So that the record is clear, this is courtroom C. Proceedings have been conducted in my courtroom all day for all of the witnesses in the preliminary examination. In courtroom B, for the first witness, courtroom B was not open, could not be accessed by anyone. And the proceedings that were going on in here were sent nowhere. For the second and third witnesses, which was the partial closure, which the court had ruled on this morning, those individuals, that courtroom opened for the testimony of those witnesses. So while the courtroom itself was closed, except to two support people or a support person for the witness and for the defendant, being fair to the defendant, where he had the two people in the courtroom B, so that the press and others could see what was going on consistent with case law. That courtroom was open. These proceedings were broadcast into that courtroom. The jury assembly room, which there has been no broadcast to all day, and has been absolutely segregated from any part of these proceedings, is where the witnesses and the support personnel, both from, I believe, victims advocates from the county prosecutor as well as MSP, have been sitting all day. So to the extent defense counsel has made any representation otherwise, it is not true. And in fact, the very fact that they went into courtroom B after their testimony, they could not have commingled with any of the witnesses yet to testify because they're all down all the way at the other end of the building in the jury assembly room. So next time you want to make an accusation, next time you want to make the court follow it, back it up. Otherwise, just be quiet. Call your next witness. The court does call the case of the closed state of Michigan versus Caleb Ricardo Smith.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Raymond Cook for the people. Good afternoon, Judge Lawrence H. Margolis, on behalf of Mr. Smith, who is in custody.
Yes, we're having him brought out now. I set this hearing after the court finding a bond violation and had revoked the defendant's bond. I set this hearing giving an opportunity for reconsideration of that bond issue.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, I'm in the courtroom today with my client's mother, Nicole Barrow, his brother, Uncle Gino's in the courtroom, as well as Gino Jr., as well as Raymond Spears. Reno. And Raymond Spears is his old football coach. They're all here in support of young Mr. Smith. Your Honor, we were here last Thursday and it was a PCC, Your Honor, requested, asked the people requested to amend the bond and change it from a PR bond. We discussed it a little bit, and then Your Honor asked Mr. Smith whether he had been using marijuana, and he honestly said that he was, and Your Honor revoked his bond. We're here today.
Well, it was kind of like that. I asked him, would he pass a drug test?
Correct. Thank you, Judge. To remind the court, this is young Mr. Smith's first criminal charges lifetime. He has a perfect record at school. He was grades until last semester when his grades declined. It is no coincidence that he has now, that's when his problems with the law began. He was not attending his duties at school. He was sort of hanging out with the wrong crowd, not to justify or offer an excuse, but here we are today. It was charged originally, this case that is in front of us was charged in juvenile court. He spent 4 days in custody. After that, he was released from custody. We went in front of the juvenile court judge and the case was dismissed, and then he was charged in adult court. The charges are very serious. I can approach and we can discuss a little bit about the main biggest charge, if Your Honor would like to hear, I believe he has there are compelling defenses to that. The short of it is we're seeking to have him placed back on his house arrest tether so he can go to school, so he can go to church, so he can do the right thing and be around his family and have the support of his family and handle these cases on all fours. He is presumed innocent. This is a good young man. I have faith in this young man, and I'm here for the duration.
Anything from the people?
Your Honor, people already stated their position on Thursday. The only thing that I have to add from that previous argument is that I do have some concerns being released under the same or similar conditions as before of the GPS tether with allowances for church and school. I believe the defendant stated at the last hearing that he got the marijuana from school. And so I'm concerned about releasing him and then putting him back in the same environment where he got the marijuana that led to this violation in the first place. Thank you.
I would just suggest the court may, if Your Honor was inclined to reconsider, may institute a testing regimen would be something this young man should be responsible to and could handle.
Well, and I appreciate what the people are saying. The other issue in this one that's plagued me since I put him in, and those of you that know me know that it would, and that is that if he stays incarcerated, maybe that might be the right decision for most. What I then know is he doesn't graduate. And then at the end of it all, I don't know what we have. That's the bottom line to it. Young man, what? So when you spent the 4 days before, that was in a juvenile facility?
No, it was here in a holding cell.
They didn't, for some reason, they weren't able to hold him in the juvenile facility, Judge.
So what have you been thinking about?
Like recently?
Well, you got locked up on Thursday. Now, unless your mind shut down, what have you been thinking about?
I've been thinking about first how right you were, and that I did learn my lesson, and that my actions do have consequences, and then this is a very serious matter, and that I do not want to be here, and not, it's more like this place shows me that I'm not like supposed to be here, and that
what you were telling me earlier today.
Mm-hmm. And that I've been thinking about, going to school. I've been thinking about graduating to go to college. I've been thinking about my relationship with God, and that how I can become a better person, and that sorry, Your Honor. And pretty much like how I can improve myself as a better person. And that's what I've been practicing while I've been there. And so when I'm out, I can become a better person, show you not with just my words, but with my actions.
Why are your grades slipping?
Well,
Because see, here's the thing. If I were to reinstate your bond, put you back out there,
mm-hmm.
Problem's going to be is that if you're failing out of school, my major motivation for even giving you that opportunity isn't there.
Your grades.
okay, yeah. Well, yeah. So, I have screenshots to prove that I have A+ right now. My lowest grade right now is a C. I believe a C.
In what?
A C in 1 second, Your Honor. I'm trying to think. I have an A+ in accounting too. A C in newspaper. I just it's a newspaper entertainment. I had to miss an assignment that I haven't turned in.
What should your grades be?
All A+, Your Honor. Or at least passing. Or not at least passing, but A's and B's. But I'm shooting for all A's.
And you shouldn't even be thinking, there shouldn't even be a C on any. Mom, anything you want to say?
Please step up.
You'll have to stay right there.
Oh,
Thank you. I have time as a counseling, for Thrive Works in Ann Arbor for not just him, but for family. Also, I looked into him being into a mentorship program. Along with his football coach, started a program called Pathways to Careers. And he said he'd be willing to mentor him along with his older brother who's starting U of M in the fall for software engineering, and his uncle. I got them in their lives, and then now I have more time off from work to be able to. They understand what's going on, to be able to get him back on the right track. And that's my goal. If I gotta monitor him, take him to school, be there. I got engaged with the teachers. They just assumed that he had been ill, so they've been allowing him to make up the work. They're all missing him. He's well liked in his whole school. Principal, everybody, they've known him since elementary. When we came up here, he was in the 5th grade. And make sure that he's no contact with any of the kids that were grown.
Pardon?
The other kids that were grown. And I make sure that he's no contact with them now. Taking his phone. He doesn't have a new number. And I actually have it linked to my iCloud, so I'm able to view all of his activities through my cell phone.
You're hanging around a bunch of grown men. Maybe,
Yes,
right?
it was a mistake.
So when you went to jail, did you feel grown? Because I can there's a whole lot of grown folks back there if that's what you want to be. You know something? Do you remember what I told you about respect on Thursday? Or did your head just shut off at some point?
No, I remember, Your Honor.
What did I tell you?
Tell me respect. It's like, oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, you told me to respect my mother, and that if I can't respect my mother or the court, then that's a problem. And I do remember, Your Honor. And I would like to say that I am, like, these 4 days, it may seem little, but it was a lot to me. And I really had time to think about it and on respect and the lengths that my mother is going for me. And the least I can do is to respect her to my full extent.
You know what's funny? You understand it, but you're never, until you are one, going to ever understand the sacrifice of a parent. You're just not, you're not going to get it. Because I don't know if you slept while you were there, but she probably hasn't slept the moment I put you back there. You didn't see. I mean, she knows they're serious charges, but you did not see your mother's reaction when I said, and I'll admit I was kind of yelling at you, that you're facing light. And I saw your mother's reaction. Because no matter what it is, no matter what's going on or anything, no matter how stupid you get, you're still her baby. If you can't respect her, and I told you this, I will. You need to respect the court orders. You need to respect your mother. You need to respect yourself. But I've been doing this a long time, and I figure somebody that can't respect their mother, you know, probably shouldn't be out there walking around and doing anything. And you took time out. What were you talking about? Work.
My health isn't so good. I can't figure out. I've been on a trial study what's going on. I've been seeing a pulmonologist, and
So you're just off. So right now you're off of work.
yes. He's not because I didn't lose my health before that.
Yeah, but him doing what he's doing can't help.
So he's clear, I've never had any issues about it. So this is why it's a shocker. All a shock, all of us. We all are shocked.
Your school on a 4-point schedule?
Sorry, I don't understand.
What's the highest grade point you can get?
Um,
4 or 5 or 4?
I think 4.0. 4.0 is the highest you can get.
It is over the objection of the people. I'm not going to, at this point. I'm going to reinstate this previous bond with the additions that I'm going to, you are to test 3 times per week. Anything show up in your system, young man, you're going back. I'm not having a bond here. I'm just going to revoke. You are also, to work your way, I want to see a 3.5 grade point average or above. Hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
So if this case is still before me and as you approach graduation and you're not near that 3.5, you know where you're going to go? Right back. Because what that just tells me is you're not applying yourself. Is there anything you're unclear about?
No,
You understand very clearly, I hope, that this is not a game.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand.
All right. To the extent you think it's a game, you don't want to play that with me. We clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Probable cause conference, March 6th.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, folks.